My travel bag. I had just returned a week earlier than planned. I froze for a second, staring at her smug face, then at the teenage boy behind her who was holding a soda can and wearing my t-shirt. My t-shirt. "Excuse me," I said slowly, trying to process what I was seeing. The boy leaned on my front door like it was his house, grinning. "Mom, don't worry. I'll handle him." He laughed. That laugh cut through me. The couch inside was visible from where I stood, blankets tossed around, my TV remote lying on the floor, an empty pizza box on the table. My home looked like a frat house. Karen puffed up her chest, stepped closer, and hissed, "This neighborhood has rules. You abandoned your property and my son needed a place. We're doing you a favor." I clenched my jaw, my heart pounding. "I live here. This is my home. Get out." Her smirk widened as a police siren wailed in the distance. She had really called them. My pulse quickened, but I forced myself to stay calm. I wasn't just some guy coming back from vacation. She had no idea who she was picking a fight with because the truth was she had just made the worst mistake of her life. The squad car pulled up fast, gravel crunching under the tires. Karen straightened like a queen awaiting her guards. "Officers, that's him. Arrest this trespasser," she shrieked, pointing at me again. The younger cop glanced between us, confused. "Ma'am, are you saying this is your house?" "Yes," she snapped, her voice trembling with fake outrage. "We have HOA authority here. He abandoned it. My son is the rightful tenant now." I almost laughed at how insane it sounded, but I bit my tongue. The boy behind her slurped his soda, smirking like he was untouchable. I set my bag down slowly. "Officer, before you touch those cuffs, maybe you should check the deed. My name's on it, always has been." Karen's eyes narrowed. "He's lying. Don't listen to him. He doesn't belong here." The older cop, more seasoned, studied me carefully. "You got proof?" I pulled out a folded document from my backpack. "I never travel without it. This is my land. This is my house." I held it out steadily, my voice calm. Karen's face twisted, but she wasn't giving up. "Paperwork can be faked. Don't be fooled. This man is dangerous." The cops looked uneasy. One of them stepped forward like he was actually going to cuff me. My fists clenched, but I didn't move. I knew something Karen didn't, because the person she thought was just a traveler with a bag had a wife who trained the local police force. And at that exact moment, another siren wailed. One Karen definitely wasn't expecting. Another cruiser slid in behind the first, but this one didn't stop the same way. The door flew open before the engine even cut off, and out stepped a woman in full police uniform, badge shining, expression sharp as steel. Karen's smug grin wavered. "Wait, what?" she stammered, glancing between the new arrival and me. My wife adjusted her cap, eyes locked on Karen. "What's going on here?" Her voice carried authority that made even the younger officer straighten like a rookie. Karen tried to recover, pointing frantically at me. "That man broke into my property. Arrest him now." My wife's gaze slid to me for a brief second, then back to Karen. Funny, because I know for a fact this is my husband's property. The boy froze mid-sip, soda spilling down his shirt. "Mom, what's happening?" he whispered, suddenly pale. Karen's face flushed red. "You can't just say that. You're only here because I called backup. This man is a squatter. HOA rules. Stop." My wife's voice cut through like a blade. "Impersonating HOA authority, moving into someone else's home, filing a false police report. Do you have any idea how serious those charges are?" The officers exchanged looks, clearly realizing the trap they'd walked into. Karen's confidence cracked, her words stumbling now. "No, you don't understand. I was just protecting the neighborhood." I crossed my arms, staring at her son, who now couldn't even look me in the eye. The air was thick with silence, broken only by the lapping of the lake behind us. Karen had wanted me in handcuffs. Instead, her own wrists were looking like they'd be fitted with them soon. Karen's voice rose higher, desperate now. "You can't do this to me. I'm on the HOA board. I have rights." She clutched her son's arm, but he pulled away, embarrassed. The older cop finally shook his head. "Ma'am, HOA doesn't give you the right to seize someone's home. That's trespassing." Karen's mouth opened, but my wife stepped closer, her boots firm on the pavement. "Actually, it's more than trespassing. You filed a false police report against my husband. You had your son occupying private property, and you impersonated legal authority. She pulled out a small body cam from her vest and clicked it on. Everything you've said since I arrived is recorded. The soda can slipped from the boy's hand, fizz spraying across the stone path. He stammered, "Mom, you didn't say it was like illegal. Karen snapped at him, "Shut up." But her voice cracked and the panic finally showed. I couldn't help but let a thin smile tug at my mouth. "You wanted me arrested, Karen. Now look who's in the spotlight." The younger officer cleared his throat. "Ma'am, I'm going to need you to step aside." Her eyes darted wildly, searching for an escape. "No, you don't get it. If this gets out, I'll lose everything. The HOA will." "Enough," my wife said firmly. "You don't get to dictate the law here, not anymore." For the first time, Karen looked smaller, her shoulders hunched, her bravado drained, her son inching away as if he already knew the fallout would be ugly. But deep down, I knew she wasn't done yet. People like Karen never surrendered quietly. She had another card to play, one I wasn't expecting. Karen's hands trembled, but instead of backing down, she dug into her purse and yanked out a folded sheet of paper. "You think you've won? Look at this," she shouted, waving it in the air. The cops hesitated as she shoved it forward. "This is an official HOA eviction notice. It says right here he abandoned the property. That means it's legally mine now." The younger cop squinted at the paper, uncertain. "Is that real?" My wife snatched it before he could touch it, her eyes scanning the document. A slow, dangerous smile spread across her face. "Nice try, but this isn't an eviction notice. This is a template downloaded off the internet." She flipped it around for everyone to see. "You didn't even change the watermark." The older officer leaned in and groaned. Clear as day, the bottom corner read "sample form, not for legal use." Karen's son muttered under his breath, "Oh my God, Mom." Karen's face went pale, but she snapped back louder this time. "It doesn't matter. The neighbors support me. They all want him gone. We don't want strangers here ruining our community." Her words hung heavy in the air. She wasn't just attacking me. She was attacking who I was. My blood ran hot, but I stayed silent, letting my wife handle it. She stepped closer, her voice steady but sharp. "Strangers, you mean the man who owns this land, the man who fought for this country while you sat on a committee telling people what color their mailbox should be." The younger cop looked at me with new respect. "Sir, military." I nodded once. "Retired. I bled for this flag so people like her couldn't steal what doesn't belong to them." The moment I said it, the entire tone shifted. Karen's power crumbled, her fake authority turning into something pathetic. But I could still see it in her eyes. She wasn't walking away without one last swing. Karen's face twisted with rage, and suddenly she lunged forward, snatching the body cam right out of my wife's hand. "This never happened," she screamed, tossing it toward the ground. Gasps erupted. The younger officer stepped forward. "Ma'am, that's destruction of police evidence." The body cam clattered but didn't break. The footage was still intact. My wife calmly picked it up, dusted it off, and clipped it back. "That was your last mistake," she said coldly. Karen's son backed away, his voice shaking. "Mom, stop. You're making it worse." But she wasn't listening. Her eyes darted between the officers, me, and her own boy. "You'll regret this. I'll sue all of you. I'll drag this entire neighborhood into court." I finally stepped forward, closing the distance. "Go ahead, file your lawsuits. But before you do, maybe check your HOA account balance." She blinked, thrown off. "What are you talking about?" I pulled my phone from my pocket, opening a document I had ready. "Turns out, Karen, while I was away, you stopped paying your own HOA dues. Funny thing is, the board sent me the arrears notice by mistake." I tilted the screen so everyone could see the overdue balance with her name on it. "Looks like you're the one about to be evicted." Her son's jaw dropped. "Mom, you didn't pay." Karen staggered back like the ground had just opened beneath her. For once, she had no words, just silence. The older officer motioned to his partner. "All right, that's enough. Ma'am, you're coming with us." The sound of handcuffs snapping shut was like justice echoing through the whole block. But the story wasn't done, because when they tried to walk her to the cruiser, something unexpected happened. Her own son didn't follow. He stayed rooted to the spot and then turned toward me. The boy stood frozen for a moment, then suddenly blurted out, "Wait, I'm not going with her." Everyone turned. Karen spun around, eyes wide. "What did you just say?" He swallowed hard, his voice shaking but firm. I can't keep covering for you. You dragged me into this mess. You told me we had the right to stay here. You lied to me, to everyone." Karen's face went red. "I did this for you, so you'd have a place, so you wouldn't." He cut her off louder now. "No, you did this for yourself. You didn't care about me. You just wanted control." His voice cracked, but the honesty in it silenced the entire yard. The cops exchanged glances, clearly uncomfortable. My wife studied him carefully. "Son, do you have something you want to tell us?" His shoulders slumped. "Yeah, I didn't want to stay here. Mom made me. She said nobody would ever find out." He looked at me then, guilt heavy in his eyes. "I'm sorry for what she did to your house. I knew it wasn't right." Karen lunged toward him, but the officers held her back. "Don't you dare turn on me. I'm your mother," she shrieked, her voice breaking under the weight of her crumbling authority. But the boy stepped back, shaking his head. "Not today. I'm done being your excuse." I stared at him, surprised. There was real fear in his eyes, but also something else, relief. For the first time that day, it wasn't just me and my wife standing against Karen. Her own family was too, and as the cops led her toward the cruiser, she spat out one last threat. "This isn't over. I'll get out, and when I do, you'll regret ever crossing me." I held her gaze, steady and cold. "Karen, the only one who will regret anything here is you." The cruiser door slammed, muffling Karen's furious shouts as the cops drove her away. The street felt lighter without her voice echoing through it. But the damage lingered. My home still looked wrecked, my trust still tested. Her son stayed behind, standing awkwardly on the driveway. He kicked at the gravel, then looked up at me. I know I don't deserve it, but thank you for not letting her get away with it. She's been like this my whole life." I studied him for a moment. He wasn't innocent, but he wasn't the villain either. Just a kid dragged into his mother's madness. "You've got a chance to be different." I said quietly, "Don't waste it." He nodded, eyes glassy, before walking off down the street alone. For the first time, he wasn't hiding behind her shadow. My wife slipped her arm through mine, her voice softer now. "You all right?" I glanced at the mess inside, the pizza boxes, the overturned furniture, the hollow reminder that someone had lived here without me. But then I looked back at her uniform, her steady strength beside me. "Yeah," I said, exhaling, "because at the end of the day, this is still our home, and nobody with fake notices or a Karen with a power trip can take that from us." She smiled, squeezing my hand. "Damn right." As the sun dipped low and painted the lake in gold, I let out the breath I'd been holding since I first saw her on my porch. Justice wasn't always clean, but today it was sure as hell satisfying. And for anyone watching, one thing was clear. This wasn't just a story about an HOA Karen gone wild. It was a story about freedom, about fighting for what's yours, and about never underestimating the wrong person.